And with that, we're starting our tour here in the formal gardens, which are absolutely colossal.
So we're now at the center of the property.
Yeah.
What's the significance about this behind me?
So the exact place where we are now, it's the perfect middle of the castle. That means there is 500 meters on that part and 500 also on this one.
So back in 1992, all of what we're looking at right now was just an overgrown field lost to time. Until Jacques found the original garden design plans in the chateau. He then excavated and recreated these gardens exactly how they would have been almost 400 years ago. First, he dug a 550-meter long canal, which is definitely a defining feature of the property, to feed the vast network of elaborate fountains and water features, such as this circular entrance fountain with these gilded statues of dolphins emerging from the sea, surrounding an ornate globe rising in the center. Even where we're standing right now at the center of the property, you've got these wild clawfoot soaking tubs overflowing with water.
And the cost to turn on these fountains is apparently 20,000 euro just to turn on and run the fountains here. So you could have a jet ski in here. That's how large this is.
It takes a full-time staff of 15 of the best gardeners in all of Europe to maintain and create these elaborate garden designs, consisting of stunning geometrical patterns and even human-sized hedge mages throughout the property.
On the side of the castle, we have a lawn with chess pieces that are probably 8-9 foot tall here, and look how perfect these are. I'm in shock that they can actually do this. The role of the gardener here at the chateau is, I'd say, the most important role because of how much acreage we have.
And one of the most intricate and prominent design features in the gardens are the symmetrical lattice design box gardens leading up to the front patio of the chateau. Now, the garden is based on the principle of imposing order and symmetry over the land.
And back in the 17th century, the #1 way a king could show his flex and his power over the land was symmetry, controlling nature. So if you notice, all the hedges are squares, because you don't find a square like that in nature. And I think that is just fascinating that they had the ability to do that way back then, and that it's been preserved today with this. It's kind of mind-boggling. I also noticed the hedges are cut in the shape of a wave, which are at least 30 feet high. I think the biggest thing I want to drive home is the scale of this place and how you really need a person walking through the gardens to show the whole 45 acres. Like, this is, I've never seen a house like this ever. I don't think anyone has, because typically stuff like this is off market, especially in France and the Paris market. It's very private, and in the past 3 years, Zachary was saying that they're becoming a bit more public facing, using things like social media to sell, so here we are. Damn. There's also a theater here.
Yeah, so it's inspired by a Greek temple, because during the 17th century in Europe, the archaeologists, they just discovered all the Greek temple and everything, so that they were trying to reproduce it in all the biggest home, like this castle, for example.
Wow. So back in the day when they discovered the Greek theater, the wealthiest of the wealthiest wanted to say, hey, I want to have a Greek theater at my home.
Yeah, because for them it was amazing, this discovery. It was completely new. They didn't knew this was existing, because it was like almost 1,000 years before them.
And this is the living stage in the Greek theater. So essentially, they made this garden a replica of the original Greek theater, because back in the 17th century, it was so expensive to travel the world, where those who were at the upper echelons of wealth would bring the world to their property. So that's what you're seeing here. And it's pretty spectacular. For instance, even behind us, we have ivy, which has been cut to mimic the architecture of the ancient Greek theater. That's ridiculous. I mentioned that there's 15 gardeners that maintain this land. They planted flowers that start blooming in May and end in October. So the entire year you have bloomed flowers. And that's where that price tag of $1 billion comes from, because you really can't put a price on this, because it's history and it's art. There is an Indian temple?
Indian palace, palais in French.
There's an Indian palais on the property. essentially Jacques brought in, I believe it was what, 5 containers?
600.
600 containers of actual materials from India to build this palace.
In 1992.
In 1992. Apparently he has parties where he brings in elephants, lions, tigers, and bears.
And the only way to go from here to the Indian Palais is this boat.
I mean, you could walk around, but we're going to take the boat. So this is the Indian Palais.
Yeah, the Indian Palais, and all of what you see here is really from India. It's not a replica. Jacques Garcia, the owner, he brought all of this by shipping containers.
I'm at a loss for words for how large the scale of his thinking is. The fact that, like, it looks like we walked into India. It looks like we are in India right now. So there's a house in the Indian palace, right?
Jacques, when he come here, he's living there.
So welcome to the living room of the Indian Palais, and just take a look around. It's one thing to hear 500 shipping containers, but to see all of the artifacts, like, come look at this. Look at this leopard. Look at this thing. I don't really have words for this, also because we don't know the value of everything. I want to mention that in the price point of this chateau, I believe we were told there's $1 million worth of art alone in the chateau. And you can see just from around me, we have, look at this chair. Just, I don't want to touch anything either. Hookah lounge. Oh my gosh. What? You know that's real too. There's no way that's fake. What's the most impressive is a lot of times I see homes where people have a theme and it's replications or knockoffs, but the fact that this is all legitimate historical antiques is just, man, it's beyond my pay grade. I don't even know what to say about this. Just look at all these artifacts.
Have you already seen a property like this before?
Not as historically, but definitely where there's themed rooms, but nothing like this.
Yeah, it's the most expensive home in the world, but I think this is priceless.
Right. It's hard to put a value on everything we've seen. So check out this hallway. Apparently now we're going to the indoor swimming pool in the Indian Palais. Oh, whoa, look at this. Holy crap. I'm gonna go up here. This is a library built into this hallway. Blake, actually, you want to check this out up here. These books are so old, I'm not going to touch a single thing. This is also the kind of home where you could spend at least a week here, minimum, and still not explore everything. Like, what is that iron door? Where does that go?